Good evening, everybody. It's the Old Wolf coming at you again live from Rochester, New York for another episode of the Witch and Wolf Wisdom. Opened up with a little quick shot of what was originally at the time Broken Past's first recorded track, Come Together, as made famous by the Beatles, but in our context, Godsmack's interpretation of the song. And just something for me as a personal experience that has always stood out. Tonight's episode is my brother, Tattoo, Tony Rodriguez. Waited a little while to have my brother up here. He's been a busy man. He is both father and friend, brother, entrepreneur, head of a charity organization, core of a band, runs a tattoo shop, runs so many different things, and he sews. So yeah, he doesn't always have a lot of extra free time, as he likes to say. But tonight's episode is about him. We're going to have him live a little bit later on tonight. As always, everything that goes down here is my opinion, and that's pretty much it. There are no real sponsors. We have supporters, and we'll talk about those in a minute like we always do. But yeah, this is just something we started doing. No, he's not late. This is on me. I told him I was going to give him a call about 8:20 because I always like to do the introduction. My brother, Chris Scherringer, a.k.a. the Fat Ass, board member, 5, brother indeed, been part of this journey longer than I have. I've known Tony now going on, about 9 years. And he's a fucking great guy. Obviously, I'm emotionally compromised, but those of you that know me know that, well, you know, I may love you, but I'll still call you out. This guy is definitely, he's one of a kind. And we've had a lot in common. One of the things that always attracted me to him as a person was not just the obvious dynamics of, you know, him being a tattoo artist and, you know, all those elements that he's built over the years, but in the dynamic that he was a single father, making it work on his terms. The fact that he took the time to really make an honest effort for people around him, even when it didn't serve his own purposes. You know, that type of natural humility, some people call it charisma, call it whatever you want, but it's a real thing, and this guy's got it. And yes, I love this photo too. It's why I picked it out. That is Tony and his son Ray sharing the stage. It was one of the reasons I actually did the original Broken Past project with him, was to be able to basically do the same thing, was to be able to perform with my son, the monkey. And we had a lot of great times and a lot of great laughs. Got to play some shows together, wrote some music, and like all things, you know, we have to move on, we have to change. We moved up here to Rochester, New York. Tony continued the band, and he's got a great bunch of guys now, writing a lot of original music. We're going to feature some of that tonight. And we're going to talk about the upcoming Arts for Autism event where Tony and Broken Past will be performing, and I will be performing as well, too, with Pocketful of Wolves. A lot of great bands. Again, we'll talk about those in a few minutes as well. Oh yeah, Virginia, brother Fat Ass is like, yeah, we had some good times, man. Some serious deep laughs. Our brother Danny Watts, he'll be performing with both Broken Past and Pocketful of Wolves at the autism event. Him and Kat, great people. A lot of great people associated with the Under My Skin for Life Foundation. I am proud to be a member and honored to call them family. You know what I mean? You know, let's call it for what it is. They are, for all intents and purposes, part of my back. You know, part of my pack. Oh my God, my mother's on? Holy shit, dogs. See, Mom, I'm going to use bad language. You taught me well. Yes, Estelle is the mother of the old wolf. Good grief. See, this is what happens. You know, we pull Tony out of the bag, and then everybody's going to come out of the fucking woodwork. Gotta love this. But yes, let's talk a little bit about some of the people that have supported us and that we always like to make a point to mention. And we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll get to the Tony stuff. So first off, I always love to talk about my sister, Ashley Hart, Hart's Creations, Dream Catchers with Intention. Shiya's talked about this. I've talked about this. We have many of these dream catchers in our house for multiple reasons. Ashley's an incredibly gifted artist, but she also has, honest magic. And for a lot of different aspects of things, they're like anything, it's really, to the degree that, you believe in it. But let me tell you, even if you don't believe, check it out. You know what I mean? One of her specialty dream catchers, an autism themed one, will be part of the silent auction at the autism event. And again, we'll talk about that in a little while. But yeah, check her out. Dream Catchers with Intention, Facebook.com/Hearts Creations. And that's Hearts, Harts. Yes. So we have a couple other people real quick. Our good friend Suzanne with Mystical Moons. Again, really gifted in her insight. She has an eye for crystals. And, we're not just talking the jewelry kind, which she does have, obviously, but I'm talking the raw dynamic. She actually goes out there and, gets batches of, raw crystals and minerals. What's tonight about? Tonight's about my brother, Tattoo Tony Rodriguez. That's what tonight's about. Yes, and as Shiya says, the witch, mention us to get 25% off your first order with Hearts Creations. 25% off your first order with Mystical Moons. Check them out. Facebook.com/Mystical Moons Live or www.mysticalmoons.com. And then we have our sisters. Dun, 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 dun. Bobby and Sherry, Moonbeams. Again, some incredibly gifted and really in tune people. Proud to call them friends, call them sisters. Again, we talk about these things in abstract dynamics sometimes, but magic as a dynamic really comes from the individuals. That has historically been the power of magic, especially within, frameworks of ritual or symbolism. But these items, they have real magic to them. So you can check them up on Facebook and Instagram. And again, as always, mention the witch and you get something off your first order. Incredibly beautiful stuff, by the way, too. Very practical for you folks out there that are into the bracelets and the stuff like that. They're designed not to fall apart. So that way you don't have to worry about, the first time you go out and you're having a good time that the damn thing's just gonna, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, and somewhere out in the sand on the Jersey Shore, never to be seen again. Now, and Shiya will testify to this because she wears a lot of this stuff. And let me tell you, she's incredibly picky when it comes to this stuff. So, yeah, check them out. So one of the things, and we kind of briefly touched on this last week, but I wanted to make it a point of mentioning it for you folks who are down in the New Jersey area. One of the guys that a lot of us have known for years within the, we'll call it the quote-unquote biker community, but it's just not just the biker community. But this brother man here, Stan Greaves, long story short, he was out with his kid. They were riding. A drunken idiot nailed him. He's in the hospital, fucked up, broken back, broken neck. He's with us still, but it's going to be a long, long road to recovery. Now, again, one of the contexts that I talk about all the time, strength in numbers. This is a guy that for years have done so many things for so many different people. And I'm not just talking within, the framework of bikers. I'm talking about, kids with cancer, so many different charitable aspects, veterans. Stan's been a staple for many, many, many years. So Sunday, September 25th, from 12 to 5 p.m. and I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I might be wrong. And my brother Fat Ass can let me know on this. Ader's Tavern, Florence Avenue, Union Beach, New Jersey. It's going to be a fundraiser. It's going to be raffles, live music, cash bar, and all the proceeds are going to go to the Greaves family. It's proudly sponsored by the Knights of Inferno MC, which for those of you who don't know, motorcycle club. Now, these are some good guys, okay? Don't be fooled by the stereotypes, okay? These are family people. They're the people in your neighborhood, okay? And a lot of these guys for many, 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 many years, and women too, and those who identify otherwise, no offense to anybody, they do real things. They don't just talk the fucking talk. They go out there and they make it a point to give back into aspects of things that a lot of times, let's be honest, gets forgotten. So when you go to any hospital and you look at who's behind the toy drives for the kids in the cancer wards, or for veterans programs, or for kids with autism, or any number of community elements, somebody's house burns down, you're going to find groups like the Under My Skin for Life Foundation. You're going to find groups like the Knights of the Inferno. You're going to find a lot of these people who constantly, year after year, one of the members of our foundation, known as the Minister of Metal, Frank Tonra, has been doing food drives for Ocean County for years and years and years. And there's no fanfare. There's no, here's a reward, here's a medal. Frank's just been doing it, just like Tony's been doing it, just like Fat Ass has been doing it, just like my brother Chris Miller's been doing it, just like I've been doing it for years and years and years and years, because it is the right thing to do. So if you can help out, please do so. If nothing else, keep him in your thoughts and his prayers, him and his family. You know what I mean? Nobody should ever have to go through this. I'm not going to segue off into the fucking nightmare of, drinking and driving. That's another podcast for another night. But my brother Chris Miller has asked me to make it a point to put this out there. So, Brother Stan, get well soon. And again, that'll be Sunday, September 25th, 12 to 5 p.m. in Union Beach, New Jersey. So, we're getting close to that time. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do before bringing Tony on live, for those of you who don't know, Tony's involved in a lot of different stuff. And it's kind of hard sometimes to really define Tony in any real true sense of the word, because he has so many different dynamics. You can talk about him as a tattoo artist. You can talk about him as a musician. You can talk about him as an entrepreneur. You can talk about him as a seamstress. You know what I mean? This guy does it all. And he's not afraid to add new dynamics. Those of us who know and love him always have to kind of be like, oh, goddamn, you're going down another rabbit hole. But those of us who know him also know that he is at his best when he is challenged, when he is exploring new dynamics. And let me tell you, this guy does not have any fear. But he also has an incredible heart. If you know the man, there's not much he wouldn't do for everyone and anyone around him in any given contest. And, he'll be the first one to be like, tired of doing shit for stupid motherfuckers who just don't give a shit and take advantage of him. But he still does, despite all of that, despite some of the things he's had to experience along the way. And he's a fucking incredible artist. He's a great musician. He's a great father. He's a great friend. You know what I mean? And again, proud to call him brother. Sister Diana, Brother Jonathan, Brother Bradley, welcome. Tonight is the Tattoo Tony Show. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let Tony explain in his own world. I kind of pulled one of, we could call it a promo reel that was done a few years ago that some people were working on in conjunction with Tony and, his life. And a lot of us thought it was a really great idea and stuff like that. And maybe it will come to be. I'm going to put it out there because I think it should. I think he's got a great story. I think it's inspiring. I think it's honest. I think it's hopeful. And why the fuck not? We have all this other bullshit and stupidity out there. Why not, push the dynamics that are actually positive, that actually say, hey, you know what? We can do things. We can become better. My motto, strength in numbers, very similar to the philosophy the foundation uses, helping those in time and need. The core dynamics are still the same. The philosophy is still the same. When we work together, we can and always will accomplish so much more, but we still need dynamics of people to lead, to, as I say, not just walk and talk, but bring real dynamic into it. So I'm going to put this up for you folks who do not know Tony to get a little bit of insight on him. And then when we come back, with any luck, Tony will be live and we'll talk more. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
I'm not the first one whose life was changed by an out-of-the-blue call from a hospital. That may have been the best day of my life. I'm Tony Rodriguez. They call me Tattoo Tony, and I'm a freehand tattoo artist. I have an A-list client base and my own tattoo shop. I'm an artist, businessman, a world traveler, and now I'm learning the toughest job of all, how to be a single father. My boy Ray Ray is 4. I wasn't expecting Ray, and he for damn sure wasn't expecting me. But he showed up anyway, and our lives changed forever. The little man is showing me a side of me I didn't know was there. I'm trying to show him, well, everything, and give him the kind of life I never had a shot at. At 14, I walked out of our miserable apartment in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and I never looked back. I swept the floors, ran for pizza, and I slept on a cot in the back of a local tattoo shop in exchange for an apprenticeship. I was adopted by a hard-living motorcycle gang, lots of noise, rock and roll, fun, and trouble. I learned to take care of myself. Me first, me last. Demons in hot pursuit, I found myself on a tour bus one night, and I didn't get on the bus to get clean, just to get paid. My good friend Brett Michael said to me, you can either stay behind and die, or you can come with me and get straight. I stayed on the bus. Me and Ray have a lot in common besides DNA. I grew up in a tattoo parlor, and Ray's doing the same thing. Neither of us ever had more than a vague sense of what family was, and we didn't talk much. Sometimes our lives seems like chaos, but Ray's number 1 in the Tattoo Tony priority list. There is no number 2. There's no number 3 or 4 or 5 either for that matter, but there's a 6, and 6 has a brother 7. Great tattoo artists and stage magicians. Pretty normal to us, for our friends anyway. The rest of our friends aren't quite so normal. Normal doesn't really cut it around here. There's my friends Donnie and Fat Ass, pro wrestlers, the Wild Samoans, Afa, Sika, Samu, and Gene Snitsky. And my friend Butch Patrick, aka Eddie Munster. Oh, and we have a new friend, country music legend Loretta Lynn. Brett and I had Thanksgiving at our house, the best damn Thanksgiving ever. I don't know what the society would call the funky collection of nomads, rebels, and wingmen. Ray and I have a word for them: family. I may be a single father, but I'm not raising my son alone. I know what alone feels like and the scars it leaves, and it's not something I will allow into Ray's life. No one with this amount of support in their life is alone. Here's the story. This ain't Wonderland. There's school and banks and taxes and people who think a little boy maybe shouldn't be growing up in a tattoo shop, hanging with wrestlers and rockers, and have a dad who looks like me. They'll change when they get to know us, or be scared to say anything. That works too. For the first time in life, I think I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm putting it all on the line to do it. When I look at the little guy, I know how high the stakes are in this. I'm Ray's dad. He's my ray of sunshine. It's all starting to make sense. Thought of the day. Life can be beautiful.
Yes, and we're back live with my brother Tattoo, Tony Rodriguez. Tony, say hi to the folks out there. Fat Ass was concerned that you were going to be late tonight, and I had to explain to him, said, no, this one wasn't on Tony. This was me calling you tonight.
Yeah, right. What's up, Frank? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, brother.
And, you know, you can't listen to Fat Ass.
Well, we were just reminiscing as we started the show about the old Virginia trips and some of the deep laughter. Yeah, Fat Ass is saying right now, you can't see it because, again, I have the chat, but he's like, yeah, he's napping.
I was, that's for sure. I'm definitely not 20 anymore.
Yeah, well,
find out.
That's the fun thing that the years do to us. Now, again, why don't you tell us a little bit about that promo that we just did? That goes back a few years, and, you know, it captures some of the dynamic of, you know, your life and, you know, the adventure, I guess you could say, that it's been. But I know for you, the primary core dynamic, and, you know, one of the things that really stood out to me about it was how everything shifted when Ray came into the picture.
Yeah, I mean, that footage was done, Jesus Christ, that'd be 10 years ago. Because I think Ray was 4. He's now, Ray's going to be 15 this year. So, you know, at that time I was all over television. I was doing stuff. It's when I was touring with Brett, and you know, I was on the Rock of Love stuff and Celebrity Apprentice stuff, and I was cast out into this light. And Suzanne Hilton had come along and wanted to help me tell my story. You know, we did that footage, and, you know, and some of my best friends are in there. Fat Ass is in there. Donnie's in there. Butch Patrick, Gene Snitsky. You know, a lot of people showed up to help support, to try to help get my story out there. You know, because I mean, you know, first and foremost, I'm a single dad. You know, and then of course the life that I've led to get to the point of where I'm at. You know, from recovery to, you know, again, you know, I'm Fat Ass, one of my best friends, traveling around in a green Jeep, tattooing wherever I could to make money because I had a kid coming to where I'm at now. You know, so it's been a real interesting road. And that footage just tells a little piece of my story.
Yeah, but it's a big part of your, I guess you could say, drive, because as long as I've known you, most of what you do, if not all of it, has been driven around the center dynamic of being a father. You know, the business, even the music to some degrees is your way of, you know, staying sane within the scope of everything else that you have to do. But the dynamics, you know, and a lot of people, again, you know, they talk a really good talk about it, but you built all those elements up from scratch to create a foundation, you know, not obviously, again, for yourself, but, you know, for your kid.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, that's what it's all about, being a parent. You know, your kid. You know, I mean, you look at you and Will. You know the song and dance. We've both done it. You know, we have to take care first and foremost our kids. You know, and I don't want my son to have to live the life that I lived, because, you know, I mean, my life was a struggle. You know, I make sure that he's, you know, got a roof over his head, food in his belly first and foremost, and then there's the business.
But it's also in the emulation of the dynamics of the example that you set, you know, constantly, you know, striving to do better, challenging, you know, the stereotypes of the dynamics of things, building elements of things that, you know, you and I both know. People said, yeah, no, you know, you can't do it. It's not going to work, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you've proven, you know, time and time again that, yeah, not only can you make it work, but you can make it work pretty fucking good.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, a long time ago, I mean, may he rest in peace, Michael Fornicola, he told me, you know, Michael told me that, you know, the sky is the limit. You know, you can put your mind to anything that you want to do in life. You just have to set those goals and put your mind to it. You can accomplish anything. Look at what I've done. You know, I went from being a tattoo artist to where I'm at now. You know, I got a couple businesses. I've got the music. I've got my kid, you know, and I can say that I'm actually quite content with my life.
Well, that's always a beautiful thing to have. But I know you're always doing more. And in doing more, we're going to talk about the Papo Sticker Company. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? I know, again, and correct me if I'm wrong, this kind of was born from the insanity of the pandemic at the time, basically.
Well, I mean, okay, so the whole Popo Sticker Company, first and foremost, Popo Sticker Company is named after my father. I lost my father to cancer in 2019. And at that time, we were going through the pandemic stuff, and I had this little vinyl printer, and I had to survive because they came in, they just like everybody else, they shut us down. I had nothing. I was left here with, how am I going to take care of my kid? So that's when I started the Popo Sticker Company, and to remember my father, of course, that's why it's Popo Sticker Company. But also, I had to survive. I was shut down with nothing, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? I mean, I had the cops called on me for selling merchandise during the pandemic, and there's all kinds of stupid shit. But I've taken from that vinyl company, printing vinyls, stickers, and T-shirts to what I'm doing now with Popo Sticker Company. Besides the stickers, I'm doing direct-to-garment printing. I'm doing embroidery. I'm making pillows now.
Yes. Speaking of the pillows, I have them up on the screen now because I know that's your latest thing now with the sewing machine and actually figuring out how a pillow actually works. I was blessed to be there during your first little attempt at the pillow.
Oh my God, that was a nightmare.
Oh, it was fun to watch though, and keep in mind you were trying to make it out of a T-shirt at the time. Yeah,
and me, I'm not the person who's going to read a bunch of instructions. I'm the person that's going to be hands on, and I'm going to fuck shit up before I finally figure it out. And the pillows now,
they're
I've
fucking
learned
beautiful.
They're coming out nice. I got the hidden zippers and all that stuff. I mean, I'm getting better with it, but the whole thing. So the whole thing with the sticker company is, I've been a tattoo artist since 1985, and I always thought that tattooing will always keep me alive. Well, the pandemic showed me otherwise. Popo Sticker Company has taught me that I need a plan B because, again, like I said earlier, I'm not 20 anymore, and God only knows how much longer I'm going to be tattooing. Hopefully, quite a number of years. But with my medical stuff I have going on, with my medical stuff that I have going on, and just life in general, I needed a plan B, and I now have that because of Popo Sticker Company.
Yes, and it's some incredible stuff. You did T-shirts for Pocketful of Wolves. You've done everything from wallets to guitar straps, coffee mugs, lighters, rolling papers. I mean,
rolling trays,
custom. I mean, again, there's so many different dynamics of things. I've seen you do custom patches. You did an incredible custom sweatshirt for one of our contests back in the beginning of the year. Yeah, Minister of Metal says, Mr. Pillow.
We're going to call it, we're going to call it Under My Pillow.
Under My Pillow. There you go. Little play on it. But
listen, I don't need it.
I mean, you've been working on this less than 2 weeks. It took you less than 2 weeks to figure out how to create a beautiful custom pillow.
Yeah, it goes back to Michael Fornicola. You put your mind to it, you do anything, you can accomplish anything you want.
But I also know you. I mean, I can see you 4 o'clock in the morning, deep in the shadows, the sewing machine tapping away.
There's no 4 o'clock in the morning for me anymore. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 5 o'clock in the morning for you.
I wake up, walk down the stairs, and start making shit.
But yeah, I mean, again, that's one of the reasons you have been as successful as you have been, is that you don't sit around and wait for it. You don't. The Shiya likes to say, you don't sit there and pray about, when's all this fortune and success going to come? You actually go out there and you're like, all right, what do I need to do? How do I build it? Give me a fucking hammer and here I go.
Well, I don't know if you want to give me a hammer. You definitely don't want me to build a house.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how we learn.
That's the only way you're going to get it. I mean, if you sit around waiting for it, it's never going to happen.
No.
The only way things are going to happen is you have to have the drive and go out there for what you want, and that's really what it boils down to. It's drive.
Oh, it's always that. You know what I mean? But it's also to some degrees too, the ability to learn new things. Let's be honest. It's easy to think about a thing, but to actually put it into practical application requires a little bit more. But Badass is jumping in, and he's saying he's definitely not a carpenter. But I mean, last we checked, you walk on water, so maybe the carpenter there's not too far off.
I can build things if I need to. It doesn't mean it's gonna be straight, but it'll be there.
So listen, yeah, you can check it out at www.papostickercompany.com. You can also check him out through www.undermyskintat2.com. Tony's definitely an incredibly sought after artist. Can't say enough about that. Shiya, and I have this up on the screen right now. This is a piece that Tony did on Shiya about a week and a half, not even 2 weeks ago. Something that she's wanted for years. Incredibly beautiful artwork and coloring, and I mean, you even have your own aftercare now, which I got to tell you, having been around the scene for a few years and knowing the dynamics of what happens, especially with a tattoo that's done right. She had like no scabbing. I mean, it healed within days, not weeks. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I was fucking blown away by it. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's a little secret ingredient I put in. It makes things heal well. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you what that secret ingredient is.
It's the special sauce.
That's right.
But yeah, definitely check that out. Now, we're going to move on. I want to talk a little bit about the days of music, as they say, and we're gonna promo into some of your stuff. Music for you, and I know especially, again, coming out of the other end of things with running with, Brett and others and stuff, and getting the shop set off, had always been a dream of yours. You've talked about it in different forms at different times that, you had always dabbled with it. And then, one day in your garage, it was born. And it's something that you've carried now for years. And really, I got to be honest, not only as your friend, but, as somebody who enjoys music, have taken it to a whole new level. Where are things at for you guys now with Broken Past? Besides obviously doing the autism show coming up, and I'll throw that up there. That's going to be September 17th, 2022 in Port Monmouth, New Jersey. I know you guys have had some stuff going on with a guy named JD.
Yes, JD, JD's a longtime friend of mine. He's, if you don't know who JD is, his name's John DeServio. He's the bass player for Black Label Society. JD is a such a well-rounded person to work with. His knowledge of music and stuff like that is just, I mean, Jesus, he's a Berkeley graduate, but JD is recording our new album. And it's great to have somebody like that behind us. You know what I mean? To help to help shape us, make us better musicians, we'll say. But he just, there's something about him that pulls something out of us that makes us, I mean, just the new stuff. I mean, you've heard some of the new stuff.
Oh, it's great stuff.
I mean, it's definitely,
it's a long ways past, the days of, just squeaking it out in the garage and stuff.
Yeah. But it's just like anything else, it's growing and learning. And if it's something that you genuinely believe in, you can, again, the sky's the limit. I've come a long way. I mean, when I was young, I was 14 years, how old was I? Jesus. I was even younger than that. Yeah, I was a kid and we were in this band and I was working at a local music store, and I I wanted to further my education with music, but everything kind of stopped because I went out on my own, living on the streets and stuff. And it took me a long time to find my way back into music, but it's been almost 10 years now, I think, that I've been back into playing. And it's just, I'm finding myself every day, as far as the band, we're writing, JD gets off. I think JD comes home this week. We're supposed to go back in the studio and record, some more stuff for this new album. But it's how it is being in the band. It's,
Oh, it's
There's
always
never a dull
process.
moment.
Yeah, it's always a
there's
process.
never a dull moment. Absolutely.
It's always, dealing with, the dynamics of, creation versus personality
Absolutely.
versus timing and, context
Absolutely.
being what it is. You have a bad weather day and, a pipe in your wall starts to leak and your air conditioner decides to start leaking at the same time.
Oh,
And
I know about all that.
yeah, shit goes sideways and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's right.
But JD, not besides just, obviously working with you on engineering and mixing and stuff like that, he's also, for a few years now, been a teacher for you musically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. JD took me under his wing a couple of years ago, and he's really. Again, I can't say enough good things about the guy. He's just so well rounded and versed, not only as a musician but as a teacher as well. You remember how I started. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And where I'm at now, I'm learning guitar now too. It's like I'm a late bloomer, but I'm working on it. I've got a lot of positive people behind me and helping.
Oh, listen, it's a great adventure, and it has infinite possibilities, and that's the beauty of it. You can explore it for 100 years and still have 1,000 more to go, and never hit the same thing twice. So,
absolutely.
So the Minister of Metal says, let's hear some New Broken Past. So I am going to promo out the not so quite official yet 20 Vision that is not 100% complete, as you said. That's still being a little bit fine-tuned.
Yeah, a little bit fine-tuned, but it's something.
Listen,
something off the new
I
album.
think it still fucking sounds great. You graciously allowed me to play with it, and we kind of, threw together a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a promo reel on it. I'll let you talk about it after we come back. So we're going to pop out 20 Vision for your enjoyment, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more with Tattoo Tony. So yeah, we're back live. That was 20 Vision from Broken Past, the not so official but close version. And I know you and I were talking back and forth a little bit about this when you first sent me the track, and I know you were really excited about, the sound that JD was finding for you guys. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what inspired you guys in that track? In the dynamics that that happens, and I got a little shot up from what you and I were, that room, that studio of yours is where a lot of incredible stuff has happened over the years. And I know you in the dynamic, it's your zone where you just channel everything, and it's where you create.
No, absolutely. 20 Vision is a song about the pandemic, is what it is. If you really listen to the words of it and the way Frank arranged things, it's talking about the pandemic and the stuff that we've been through. And then having JD to step in and put the the little bells and whistles to it and to help lay out the groundwork of the song. It's really a good song, I believe, anyway.
I think it's very powerful, and it's well rounded in the dynamics, not only within the sound, but how it flows within, as you said, the dynamic of what you guys are trying to say within it. And it's that double-edged sword, that goes both ways, the brother against brother dynamic and, the shifting chaos of, one side versus the other side versus, let's be honest, the reality. So, yeah, that sounds interesting.
Absolutely.
So yes, this is live podcasting. So I don't know what that was going on in the background.
Oh, that was me walking up the stairs and sitting in my recliner.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's totally cool. That's the beauty of, as they say, going live. So again, tell us a little bit more about, that dynamic for you personally. I know you mentioned it earlier with, Papo Sticker and the aspects of how the pandemic translated over to you. But also, I know to some degrees you wanted to kind of present almost both ends or both sides of the coin.
As far as come from the pandemic and stuff?
Well, just as also in the context of how it was affecting people. I know that's one of the things that you and I have talked about, and a lot of people have talked about, that it wasn't just the subtleties of, people dying or businesses, but the carryover on, I guess, people's mentality, how they were interacting with each other, how they were now kind of dividing and drawing sides, and, the kind of a chaotic element that was really being born at what was supposed to have been helpful. And I think a lot of us realize now, in retrospect, did more damage to us.
Yeah, it changed everything as we know it. You know what I mean? Look at us growing up. When us growing up, we never had to deal with anything like that. Everything got put on hold. Who would have ever thought that would have happened? Especially like the way we grew up.
Yeah, especially with the kids too. I know Ray had to, again, deal with the aspect of homeschooling as millions of other kids had to. And it really changed a lot of other dynamics that are still, we both know are just beginning to play out and carry over into real time.
Yeah, what it really is, what I personally think it affected our kids, besides us, but our kids. Ray, 30 years from now, how do we know how that's just going to affect him? You know what I mean? Or any child for that matter that had to go through this stuff.
Now, I know a lot of your music has been very personal. One of the first songs, that we had wrote, Dead to Me, was, indicative of the dynamic of betrayal. The people who will pretend and will front in the dynamic, ride the coattails and stuff, only to kind of reveal the true dynamic and then how that, changes our interaction. But some of them, and the next track that I'll be getting to in a few moments, Some Gave All was really reflective about the dynamics of our veterans and what they have given to create the environment, the framework for everything that you and I, and let's be honest, everybody does, and to some degrees we take for granted. Yes, there's that flush.
No, that's the rain outside.
Fat Ass says don't forget the flush, so.
No, it's not the flush. I'm moving around the house, so. Some gave all, of course, is for, the people who gave for us. We can never truly forget what the veterans, the men and women of the service have done for us and given us. But we also have to remember that, like the title of the song, Some Gave All. There's people that didn't come back. And we can't forget those people. All of our songs have some kind of story. Have a lot of meaning behind them. They tell a story, whether it's an aspect of our lives or, Frank talks about his brother. That's, Sergeant Joe, you know what I mean? That's about his, it all tells a story. Every one of our songs has to do with something that has happened to us in our lives. It's not just sitting down and writing random words to a song. It's everything is from the heart.
And for those of you who don't know, the current Broken Past lineup is Tony Rodriguez, Wayne White, Brian Stagger, and Frank Acey on vocals, who Tony was just referencing on that track. I know you guys have been, really, really good live, and I know that's a dynamic that you have continued to stress upon in your performances. You guys just recently played a sold-out show at the Saint, and I know you guys, obviously, the next show gearing up is going to be the Arts for Autism show. Now, you and I have a friend, guy obviously you introduced me to, that's going to be performing with both of us, Danny Watts and stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about some of the stuff that's going to be going on? I mean, I have the quote-unquote official flyer up with Exit Strategy back on it, but I know we have people like Gene Snitsky and Jose Hernandez Jr., Samoa Noi, and others, obviously the Rat and stuff. But this is your baby. This has been, your, I guess you'd say, child that you've run now for, 14 years? This will be the 14th or 15th year?
This is our 13th year.
13th year.
The Arts for Autism event started as just tattooing for autism originally. It was me and Fat Ass and Frank and let's see who else was here then, Kim and Patty and we decided, and my sister as well, I can't forget that. We decided that we were going to do something to help with autism, because so the short of it is, I have nephews that have autism. I wanted to raise awareness and let people know about autism, how it was a real thing. I mean, you're talking 13 years ago. Sorry about that. Autism's been out for, has been known about a long time, but I wanted to show how somebody like myself or us as a whole, as far as being on my Skin for Life Foundation, could let people know that we care about, people with autism too. So it originally started with a bike run, which the first one wasn't so great. It was a poker run and it rained and it was tough. I mean, we still wound up raising a couple of $1,000s the first one, and we learned. And the whole thing, the last 13 years has been a learning process. I mean, I have a great core of people that help. I've got Fat Ass, I've got Frank Tanra, I got, yourself as well. All the members of the foundation, Ryan, Melissa, the Milkos, Rich and Karen Milko,
Patty Hominy and
Patty Hominy, of course. We love Patty. But there's a core group of people that have helped to run this. And it's not just me. It is, over the years, it has transformed from tattooing for autism to arts for autism. And the reason things change is because the world around us has changed.
Absolutely. But the core dynamic, strength in numbers, has always been the same. It's always been a group effort. It's always been about the cause, always volunteer. And I know you put out a lot of money over the years just to, to get it off the ground and make it happen because you believed in it.
One thing I'm happy to say this year is there's nothing coming out of my pocket.
Well, that's the advantage of having done it for a few years now and actually having
it's really, it's really all of us, all the people that have stepped up. I think we've got 13 sponsors this year.
Wow. And I actually have the sponsor thing. And again, I know you can't see it, but I'm going to throw it up.
Go for it.
Out there and, mention a couple of things. The Under My Skin for Life Foundation Arts for Autism, sponsored by, and we have some guys like Standard Storage of Hal, Freehold Self Storage, the Bootleg Bastards, the Old Bridge Metal Militia. Support your local cracker. I don't even know what the fuck that one is, but
that's Lutz. You gotta love.
Is that Kellen?
What's that?
Is that Kellen Lutz?
What's that?
Kellen Lutz?
No. Lutz from Fastlane. Old Lutz from Fastlane Biker.
Oh, okay. We've obviously got the Minister of Metal up there. We've got York Jersey Underwriters, IMA Pediatrics, Stevenson LLC, Moranis Crafts, A&L Insurance Agency. Choking on my own shit. Middletown PBA Local 124, Integrated Wealth Management, and Oasis Farms.
And don't forget, Use Your Skull.
What was that?
Use Your Skull's on there too.
Oh, well, that must be a new updated one that I don't even have.
No,
yet.
it's on there.
Really? Oh, yeah, I must be fucking blind.
It's right under Stevenson LLC.
Oh, there it is. Right. I thought it was part of the Stevenson LLC because I just saw the logo.
That's a whole other company. Delphine does some amazing stuff with skulls. If you don't know, check her out. Use Your Skull. She does some real. I got some of her stuff in my shop. It's just amazing.
Definitely. Next time when we come down there next week, I'll definitely get some of that information and we'll start promoting it through.
Absolutely.
Because we've had a lot of people support and help us through the years. As Brother Fat Ass Chris Erninger just said, we have grown tremendously through the years, and we have. You know what I mean? It has something that has continued to build upon itself. One of the great things is you never quite know who may show up.
You really never do. I mean, look, one year we had Mark Mendoza from Twisted Sister. We get people like Mark Chanolo from Accept. He comes out.
Listen, my first year, you had me, kind of running personal security for Jimmy Snuka, and it's a moment I'll never forget as long as I live because, as a younger person, I remember Jimmy and the old, WWF and, everything that was. And, meeting him in person, how incredibly generous and kind. And, you remember, he was incredible with the kids. He was always giving himself, Jimmy, even though he suffered constantly in pain, those last years. But it never stopped him from coming out. In fact, he drank all my beer.
Jimmy's family to me, it was sad when he passed away. But I mean, Jimmy came here and he hung out. I don't know if you remember, but we had him tattooing somebody. I don't know if you remember that.
Vaguely. Listen, especially the days when we were running the event at your shop, it was fucking chaos. It was just chaos. We did just going around the building and.
Remember when we had all the motorcycles pull up? Me and Fat Ass were talking about this the other day. All the motorcycles pulled up. We had like 100 and some motorcycles lying down the highway. And somebody called the cops saying that there was an outlaw motorcycle gang pulling up to the tattoo shop.
Well, it's ironic too, because they, sometimes they'll respond to, the offbeat things, but how long did it take you to get a response for, the stalking cigarette snatcher?
Oh my God!
That would roam around your building in the middle of the night. You know what I mean?
I've had some interesting stuff around here.
You know what I mean. It's ironic. And listen, you and I both know to some degrees this is the flip side of the stereotype. You and I have both known guys in motorcycle clubs, but we also know doctors, lawyers, teachers. We know people. You know what I mean? That run at many different levels of spectrums of life. You know, Brother Badass did security for years. You know, Miller. You know what I mean? You know, obviously within the tattooing world have, you know, as you yourself have said, you know, you had an A-list of clientele.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey. I'll say that.
And, you know, I would be be remiss if I didn't mention, you know, and you can help me out because you have a much better, I guess you could say, memory on that. And it's one of the things you've made it a point over the years is to memorialize those people who have, you know, unfortunately left us through the years through the foundation. You know, obviously, you know, guys, you know, like Rick Sackelrod and Chris Homney, and you mentioned Michael, and, you know, there are a few others. If you
Roger Duffy, Rick Axelrod, Linda, yes, Tony.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, one of the dynamics and one of the beautiful things I've always felt about that is carrying those memories, you know what I mean, in remembrance, because they did do a lot of stuff, you know, again.
Absolutely. You know, the big thing in life is memories. You know what I mean? You know, I use as a reference all the time the movie Coco. I don't know if you've ever seen that or not, but it talks about, you know, the Day of the Dead and how they remember people. You know, the big thing about a memory is as long as there's a picture hanging on the wall, that memory's still alive.
And you keep a lot of that in your shop, you know what I mean, throughout the years.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, carrying, you know, loved ones' names or keeping that memory on the wall, you know, keeps them alive. You know, if once that picture's gone, and, you know, in this movie, once the picture's gone, they go, you know, their soul goes to the afterlife, you know, into like an eternal, just like wandering eternally, you know what I mean? So I'm a big believer in keeping those memories alive, because at the end of the day, like yourself, myself, we're the only ones that are going to keep our memories alive, you know, pass it on to our kids or our loved ones. But at the end of the day, we're the ones really trying to keep these memories alive. And, you know, because they're still with us. They're still in our heart and their souls. You know what I mean?
It's one of the reasons I do the podcast, besides, you know, obviously getting to just rattle on and talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about, but to preserve some of those dynamics that, you know, I feel otherwise may not. You know what I mean? And again, it may only be captured in, you know, in this small little section of the universe, but it still exists. It's there. You know what I mean? Theoretically for our kids and for our kids' kids, or, you know, anybody who gives a fuck to say, hey, you know, here it is. You know what I mean? Here are their words, their thoughts, their experiences, you know, their laughter, their fears, whatever it is.
There's one thing that I've definitely done over the years is I've left a trail. You know, I mean, 30 years from now, my son will be able to go on the internet, if there's still internet or whatever there is out there, and you can Google me and you'll find out so much stuff, so much cool stuff that I did over the years, you know, where my son or you know, if I have grandkids, whatever the case is, will say that was my grandfather, that's my dad. You know what I mean? And I've left my mark on this world.
And plenty more to come. Our brother Chris Miller has joined us. Good evening, Brother Miller. He's been a big part of some of these adventures over the years.
I gotta go now.
Yeah, now that's your cue. So listen, we're going to take a break real quick. Again, for those of you who've never heard this is Some Gave All, the official video from Broken Past, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Okay?
You don't
I'm
want to
gonna
talk
say
about that guy?
I'm going to say it too.
Yeah, well, if we go live, if we talk about Chris Miller, you know what I mean, that could be kind of fucked up now, wouldn't it?
That's okay. I'm going to dodge it. Watch.
Well, I mean, again, whoops, we're live.
Watch.
Oh.
Watch how this goes. Watch. I'm telling you.
So, yeah, that was Some Gave All. That was the official video. That was made, about 2.5 years ago now?
Yeah, it was like 19, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe almost 3 now.
1920, something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. But
my days are clouded together.
I know you guys, chose that spot, specifically and set that up to, again, keep it simple in the dynamic. Fat Ass says 2019. But again,
he knows more about me than me. So we're good.
Fat Ass is your official historian.
He's my memory.
He's your memory. Okay.
Yeah.
So not quite a figment of your imagination, but
no, he's a fat ass though.
Still reflective of it. So yeah, as Chris Miller said, you have quite literally left. Chris Miller was commenting.
Who?
That guy. Okay.
What?
That guy. You know that guy.
Who?
That guy.
Who?
The guy that has your ass tattooed on him.
I don't know who the hell that is.
Yes,
what are you talking about?
That guy. But you have literally left your physical mark on a lot of fucking people over the years, and lot of name people.
I'd probably say 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3,000.
No, 2 or 3 people.
No, there's a whole lot more than that. Listen, I've been in your fucking shop, man. You know what I mean? But again, it is a dynamic, not only the expression, but it's also reflective of the artist. I mean, you of all people know, you have seen a lot of shitty tattoos over the years, and we both know you fixed more of them than you probably care to remember. You know what I mean? Which is ironic, again, being a tattoo artist. And for many years, you have apprenticed people. You've tried to teach the art as it was taught to you back in the day. But it is a very personal dynamic, between an artist and the canvas. And,
absolutely.
A lot of those tattoos over the years have been incredibly personal they're memorials or, reflections of elements in people's lives, or they're just young teenagers coming in to get their nipples pierced. But, hey.
But, with a tattoo, it's I believe it's to tell a story, no matter how you look. Like, we'll talk about Chris Miller and his tattoos. I mean, Chris Miller has a bunch of stuff that I've done that I genuinely love. It's the monsters, He's got all the monsters I've done all down his thigh. I mean, it reminds him of back in the day, you know what I mean? And he loved the monsters. So, I mean, it's every tattoo that I do, I try to pick people's brains and figure out what they want. Like earlier today, I don't know if you saw, I did this Polynesian piece from around this guy's chest, down his arm, and around the back of his shoulder. But it all tells a story. You know what I mean? It's an experience or a vibe or however you want to say it. I bring people into my room and I pick their brain and I try to create what they want. And most importantly, I click with the people that I tattoo. It's like it's a therapy session. I have my NA meetings, my AA meetings. I have my marriage counseling. I have psychiatry.
It's
I have
Cheers.
it all.
Everybody wants to know your name.
That's right.
They come, they get drunk, they shit on the floor, and they walk out with a tattoo.
I don't know about all that.
Well, they do blow up that bathroom, though.
Listen, I'm going to talk about that bathroom. But, it's all, what's really cool is I have tattooed so many people in the last 37 years. Is it 37 now? It's 1985. So how long is that? It's 37, right?
Right. And you started within the Asbury Park scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I started tattooing in the 80s, it was a whole different world. It was your typical, first off, there wasn't a million tattoo shops in one town. There was 5 tattoo shops maybe in Monmouth County at the time. And 3 of them were owned by Gene. I was taught the old school mentality biker way of tattooing. We used to make my own. Jesus, when I started tattooing, we were re-sterilizing needles back then. If that tells you how far back it goes. I mean, there was ashtrays at the workstations, for the customers. It was a whole different world back then. And to watch the industry evolved to what it is now, some 37 years later. I mean, honestly, I'm lucky to still be here. I mean, I put my heart and soul into what I do, but I'll tell you what, there's some artists out there that are absolutely fucking amazing, but I mean, I've lived the life. I'm one of those people that have watched the industry grow to what it is today, and I'm very blessed to still be doing it.
Yeah, and you've taught a lot of people along the way as well, too. There are many artists out there that are only able to do what they do because you gave them that chance. You brought them in, you took the time, and you shared the dynamics that were given to you. A lot of artists won't do that, and that's not so much that they're bad people. I'll use a guy like Paul Booth as an example. He's a great fucking artist, a great guy, but he's the fucking Christmas Grinch when it comes as far as his stylizations and dynamics of things. You know what I mean? Because it's his brand, and he's not going to fucking share that with anybody.
Absolutely. I mean, I've taught a lot of people. I hate to say it, but I've taught a lot of my own competition over the years. I mean, there are shops that are around me that are owned by people who worked for me back, years ago. I helped them along the way, but you know how it is. Once they leave, then they start talking shit and, whatever,
Yeah,
but I teach people the way that I was taught, I'll make my apprentices make needles, even though nowadays it doesn't matter because most people don't even. You
can buy 10,000 of them from China and just, load up and never have to deal with it.
Most people that do apprenticeships or teachings or whatever you want to call it, they don't teach half the shit that I do. I teach what I know. I teach them how to mix ink. I teach them everything: coil winding, machine, spring cutting. I teach it all. But I'm done with that in my life. I've taught so many people.
It's a chapter, and like all chapters, they have to end to open the door to new things. But one of the other things, and I always noticed this, and again, it was one of the things that really did stand out to me, it wasn't just the dynamic of the technical end. It was the subtleties of how you interact with a potential customer. You know what I mean? The dynamics of how, as you said it yourself, you would connect with the person, understand what it was that they were trying to create, what it represented to them. And you and I both know a lot of those shops, you walk in there, just like yours, and there's a shit ton of fucking flash on there. But rarely do I can't tell you, again, you could tell us obviously better, but I don't think I've ever seen you use a fucking flash. All of it is the dynamic of you translating from them instead of just saying, well, here you go, you know what I mean, and just, pump them out the door. I'm sure you've done them, but you understand the dynamic that you're more of an artist than, just kind of a stencil and go kind of guy.
So with me, the way I do things anyway, when somebody comes to me and say that they want to get tattooed, whether they know exactly what they want or don't know what they want, I don't do any type of drawing before any appointment ever. At least very rarely anyway. But and because when the person comes in to sit with me, I want to connect with them. Can I sit there and draw something for them? Sure, I can. And then they could come in and be like, that's not what I was thinking. You know what I mean? I'd much rather have somebody sit there with me and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I'll throw something together and then I tweak it right then and there instead of, going back and forth with, that's not it. Can you change this? Can you change that? I'd rather have that connection with the person and create exactly what they want right then and there. And besides that, I like working under pressure.
Well, it's a direct and more honest, I think, approach. Yeah, obviously it's probably more difficult to some degrees because it forces you to work within a time constraint because, again, obviously your time is money. You know what I mean? The more tattoos you can do, obviously, the better money you're going to make. But, honestly, even again, I know with Shiya, you spent extra time at your own expense to make sure that it translated correctly, that it wasn't just, again, all right, let's get the fucking McDouble out the door and move on to the next customer.
Yeah, no, especially the older I'm getting, I cut back. I only do a couple tattoos a day anymore. I'm not trying to do 15 tattoos in one day no more.
How many? You remember the original, tattooing for autism events, and you used to tattoo during them and stuff. And, you guys were doing, at some point
15, 20 tattoos in an 8-hour span. Yeah, we were knocking stuff out.
And you were, like you said, you were traveling, you had the portable tattoo studio, and, you were here, there, down the shore, over there.
Up in Canada or out in Ohio or wherever I was at,
And as my mother says, yes, you even tattooed my mother.
I did.
Yes, and she wants more, by the way.
All right. She knows where I'm at.
Yes. Well, listen, again, anybody coming out to the Art for Autism event and it's going to be in town around that time, now would be a good time to reach out to the man and book your time. Because let me tell you.
I think I'm already booked up for that weekend.
Oh, well, see, there you go. He's already booked up for that fucking weekend. See, here we are trying to, and he's just like, yeah, no, I don't need any more business.
But
listen, as the Minister of Metals, as the Minister of Metals is fond of saying, you have touched him and he wants you to touch him more.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he said it publicly. Yeah, no, look at quote right there. He's touched me and I want him to touch me more. I know you can't see this right now.
Yeah, listen, you know what ministers do, right? Behind closed doors?
Well, you know what Father Flanagan always says. Hey, come here, little boy. Let me tell you about the power of Christ. Yeah, we know how that fucking plays out.
I can't tell you where Frank touched me at the tavern.
But listen, I mean, again, it's a dynamic that has expanded and grown, over the years. Again, we were joking about it a little bit before, but we have a lot of incredible people that have been involved. The knuckleheads, the young brothers, they've been doing the event now for what, 5 years?
Jesus Christ.
5, 6 years?
I don't ask my memory.
Well, yeah, I don't know if the fat ass is gone off to Schlitz heaven or, wherever, he may or may not be doing at the moment.
I can't remember. It may be more like 6 years, I think. I don't remember.
They're incredible. Two young brothers and stuff like that have been playing together. And, every year they come out and they get better every year. It's been amazing to watch that dynamic, play out over the years, and you have other people, like Mark Meyer, what I mean, who has been a constant supporter. He's been.
There's somebody else I'd like to mention too, Turbo. Turbo, I don't know if he's going to make it out this year, but Turbo has been a big part of our events, and the Rock Against History,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, we can't forget about Turbo. I love that guy. I miss seeing.
Yeah, Mama Turbo as well too. I mean, there's so many people that have been involved. Chris Miller. You've got Shawnee Trent down from the Virginia crowd.
Who did you say before that?
Chris Miller.
Who? I've heard that name somewhere.
You've heard that name somewhere before, yeah, I know. He's that guy that used to beat the shit out of people at Starland that looked at him sideways. Remember those days?
I don't remember those days. I think I was a little too much with me going on then.
Yes. Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, again, in fairness, he is godfather to my son, so I guess I can't take his name
maybe
too much.
Maybe we'll keep.
We'll let him slide this time. But again. A lot of people, we have Spawn Ranch. They're going to be performing this year.
Yes, those guys are great.
You know what I mean? I know Fat Ass is bringing some new blood. The Solos Borges.
Yes,
I think they're like Spanish like metal.
Yes. I hear they're very good. I'm excited to see them play.
Yep. And again, some people that you are very well acquainted with the live wrestling, and I know that has a special personal dynamic for you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my family. You know what I mean? It'd be many miles with mom and pops and Samu and even Gene Snitsky. We're one big family. And it's always an honor to have them there representing.
And they're going to be wrestling live. I mean, you're actually going to have a ring out there.
Oh yeah,
good.
They put up the ring in the parking lot. It's great. Everybody loves it.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking blast. You know what I mean? And we're going to have the 501st, which is the Star Wars group.
Yes.
And they're really, really. I mean, they're deep into it. They really they don't play around with that stuff. They're total Star Wars folks. They come out great with the kids. And Brother Frank, Minister of Metal, and rightfully so, mentions a couple other people. We got Kevin Ledbetter, who's been doing sound for a number of years.
Yes, and Tommy.
And Tommy.
Can't forget Tommy.
Right. We got Danny Watts, who's going to be performing. Danny Watts.
What?
That guy. You know, that guy down from Virginia.
What?
Yeah, well, yeah, that guy.
Who the hell is Danny Watts?
Listen, I know with age, believe me, I get it. The dementia shit, you just start forgetting who the fuck you are.
Is my memory gone?
The next thing you know, you're rolling around in butter, and you know.
Did my memory leave the building?
Screaming on your roof about how you're a golden god and shit like that, huh?
What?
I don't know. Hey, Mike from Manchester, England. Do you agree most Yanks are thick as shit? Listen, I mean, again,
I'm pretty thick.
I'm pretty thick. You know, I don't think it's unreasonable, you know, especially if you're looking from across the ocean over here and wondering, hey, what the fuck? what are you guys thinking? What are you doing? I can't blame people. You know what I mean? I have no answers. I'm not going to make fucking excuses, but in the same instance, yeah, it is what it is. You know, but also on the flip side, you know what I mean? And this is the beautiful thing about perspective. You know what I mean? You all got some fucked up, freaky shit, you know. Boris has been doing some weird things out there, and, you know, we've all got our dances and our problems and stuff, but hey, the beautiful thing is with music and love and all this other stuff, we can kind of get around through that type of stuff. If you want. It's a choice. But I also know
everything in life is a choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you can make fun. Listen, sometimes laughter is the best defense against the fucking insanity. You know what I mean? Especially when, you know, people start cracking out with the really deep shit, you know, it's like, well, do I dance into the mouth of madness or do I blow this off and, you know, save a bit of my sanity in the fucking process? I mean, you've seen some crazy shit over the years, you know, and we've had a couple adventures, you know, along the way, but, you know, the dynamic is people are strange. They're always going to be fucking strange. And sometimes that strangeness can translate, you know, really nicely, and other times it's, well, you know, it's a mess that's got to be cleaned up or kind of swept out of the parking lot in the middle of the night when nobody's looking.
Right.
But so, yeah.
There are some strange people in the world, though, that's for sure.
Listen, and brother Frank is a couple other names. Wayne Stoll, great guitar guy. Listen, he is a tech master. And if I remember correctly, he works for Dean, right?
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
So, yeah, he's the Dean guitar guy. We got Shrek and Jersey Clown Cartel. Shout out to them. We got Maura Quarterman,
guys.
Another foundation member.
Absolutely.
Trying to think, am I missing anybody? It's kind of hard sometimes to keep track of.
Ryan and Melissa.
Oh, Brian and Melissa. Yes, Ryan is one of our board members. She's been handling all the vendor insanity.
Yeah.
God give her credit for that, because I don't think any of us wanted to fucking do that.
Yeah. You know, people don't realize how much work it is. You know, when you do a big event like that, how much work it is. And I mean, like I said, this is our 13th year of doing the autism event, and it's all been, you know, we've all learned stuff along the way, what things to do, what not to do. But, you know, it's over the years. I mean, Jesus, our 13th year, it's not too bad.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a lot of fun. And it's a free event. You know what I mean? For anybody that's out there listening, you know, who's going to come out or wants to come out, you come out, watch the bands, the wrestling, you know.
We can't forget about Frank Conner, too. No,
well, we've already mentioned the Minister of Metal. You know, and
I'm just buttering the bread.
Just butter in the bread? Well, yeah. I mean, he really, really wants you to touch him.
Yeah, I know he does.
He wants you to touch him in this special place.
All right, easy now. So, you know, we're going to be talking about more butter.
We got the Rat, WRAT 95.9. The Rat rocks. Yeah, we've got some promo stuff going in between our two bands. And you graciously, I mean, the two tracks that are actually playing out there, you actually did bass for me on, both Just Like Me and Keep On Talking. We started doing, you know, all that stuff kind of remotely. It all began, you know, kind of, you know, heading into the tail end of the pandemic and stuff. And then, you know, everybody was just like, all right, we fucking had enough and we don't care and let's live again. But, you know, a lot of stuff You know what I mean? A lot of places, didn't make it through. So
yeah, that's the sad part about it, about the whole pandemic thing. How many people that, work their lives to get what they have and to lose what they've worked so hard for. I got through by the skin of my teeth, but I'm very blessed that I'm still here today.
And it also changed the dynamics of the local music scene. Not as many places to play out. It's much more challenging.
Absolutely.
I know our mutual friend, Greg Schumann, Mark Meyer, they do a lot of, acoustic shows in little places, to, pay the bills in between and just to keep themselves active. And it's a fucking shit show out there. I mean, it really is a shit show.
It's tough anymore, it really is not. It's not like when we were younger, that's for sure.
Well, I know that's one of the things that the Minister of Metal has been helping with in keeping the local music scene alive with some of the stuff he does. And I know that's something that, you've been active as well, every year in doing the autism event or, be it like, through Turbo and the Rad, the Rock Against
I'll tell you what, I mean, for the pandemic stuff, Frank had gone above and beyond to help to keep some kind of live music scene alive. When the Brighton Bar was still open, Frank busting his ass, the Cavern that Frank does now.
Yep.
He busts his fucking ass to give people places to play.
I mentioned earlier, for years he's been doing the food drives down there for Ocean County with no fanfare, and I mean just religiously year after year after year, and it's a dynamic. You know what I mean? That most people, again, take for granted, but, believe me when I say, if you're a family with kids and you don't have fucking food, these food banks are, they are the only thing, for a lot of people, between starvation.
I know. Listen, I know all about that. I mean, growing up the way I grew up, we lived, if it wasn't for the churches or the food banks, we wouldn't eat. You know what I mean? So I know what it's like, there's nothing wrong with going to ask for help, for anybody that's out there, if you need help, you got to ask, because nobody's going to be able to read your mind or be able to know what's going on.
No, there has to be that active, conscious, choice. But again, it goes to the foundation's motto of helping those in time of need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the little things that we can do. Frank also mentions, and again, thank you, my brother, we can't forget to thank the Port Monmouth VFW, who has graciously been hosting the event now for a few years, and also former members Kim Serfos, who's, I believe she's down in Puerto Rico? She's off somewhere having a fucking adventure.
She's enjoying her life, God bless her. I love Kim dearly. She, that lady's been through hell, and she's, I see her smiling nowadays.
Yep. So shout out to you, Mama Ken, and we got Baby Ray of the Bootleg Bastards, also another former member and obviously a supporter of the event. In a couple different ways. He has a band, that performs out there as well too. He won't be performing, unfortunately, this year, but he's still out there. There's a lot of people. You got Gotts, who's a personality from the Rat, who's going to be out there for the autism event and doing his thing, giving some swag away, maybe some tickets, maybe some this. You never know. I mean, again, that's the beautiful thing about this event is you really just truly don't know.
Really never know
who the fuck is going to show up, what may go down.
That's right. But it's always, it's always a good time, and it's raising awareness about autism. And for those that don't know, the money that we raise at this event goes directly to Oasis Farms. That's
an incredible thing. That's what, the foundation has always been, strictly volunteer. Every penny raised has always gone, either
Absolutely. We're not that type of foundation where there's people getting paychecks, feeding the rich. We take, there's no money. Everything is volunteer from us. Just like our event. Our event is free, but yet, I mean,
the only thing that costs money, we have vendors who are going to be coming out to support. So if you want to buy a T-shirt or
we sell the T-shirts. We have the bike run where people donate. We have the raffle table, which really usually brings in a lot of money. But it's really awesome how many people come out of their pocket to help and support our event. To support Oasis Farms.
Yeah. And there's some really great things that you'll never see really anywhere else. You know, again, every year we have unique items that get auctioned off. We've had signed guitars from people like Loretta Lynn, Marshall Tucker Band, you know, specialty type of, I guess you could call it promo stuff that has worked its way through supporters who, you know, not always are able to come out and actually support the event directly. Maybe they're on, you know, tour someplace, or they're on the other side of the country, or this, that, and the other thing, but they still in their own way help out. And, you know, there's been, you know, drumsticks and things from Leonard Skinner. You actually went out with them at one point back in the day as well, too. One of the numerous A-listers that you have been around with over the years. You know, and, you know, I got introduced to Marshall Tucker through, you know, Chris Miller, and working shows with him, you know, great guys, you know. So there's a lot of love and support outside, you know, across the spectrum. You know what I mean? Be it through musicians or guys like Jose Hernandez Jr. or, you know, any number of people that have, you know, helped out in different ways or, you know, been involved. You know,
there's a lot of love out there for what we all do, you know.
You know, as you mentioned with the Munsters, you know, you've been friends with, you know, Butch Patrick, you know, for years. And for those of you who don't know, Butch Patrick is the actor who played Eddie Munster on the original series.
Yeah, Butch is great. I love him. Butch is family to us. Me and Butch met a long time ago, and we both were in such good ways. You know, we went our ways and then found each other again, and we picked up where we had left off, but on both on different pages. You know, and I'm proud to call him family. You know.
Well, sometimes the circles, they come back around. You know, just because a chapter closes in one text doesn't mean that characters from a previous chapter can't reappear. Now, sometimes the names have to get stricken from the books. You and I both know that there are some names that will not be named and mentioned, but that's okay too, because that, I think, and you and I have talked about this over the years, it really allows us to appreciate the good dynamics and the people that do stay in our lives, that we can over the years count on, that we call, you know, and it's that running paradox, we've talked about it many times, brother. You know what I mean? It's a word, you can throw it out there, but the dynamic of what it really means, what it represents, you know, I talk about it a lot in, you know, actions don't really have weight. You know, the words, you can throw it out there. You teach a parrot to recite fucking scripture, it means nothing. But when you put a certain context into something, aka brother, you know what I mean? It has a deeper dynamic. It isn't just a word. It is reflective of time. It's reflective of actions. A lot of times reflective of sacrifice. Because it's, you know, it's never just a straight line. You know, it's always, you know, it's up, it's down, it's over here, it's over there. You know, there's good times, there's bad times. You know, unfortunately, you know, we've all had, you know, to bury some people along the way. You know what I mean? We've had to deal with dynamics that probably would have never, like, I don't think you and I ever would have, you know, signed up and said, hey, I want to be a single father, you know what I mean? And do it all by myself on my own, you know what I mean? That wasn't, you know, exactly like, you know, but we did it, you know, granted we didn't have a choice, but in many ways, and you and I have both seen the flip side, that choice is made every day. A lot of guys don't, you know, they don't, they're not a part of things. Now, you were blessed in the fact that, you know, you had a great relationship with your father. He was an important dynamic for you and Ray and stuff like that. And it influenced how you set the stage with your own son.
So, I mean, with the stuff that I've been through in my life, I wouldn't want to see any kid have to go through what I went through, you know, and you know, when Ray was born, I vowed that I would make sure that my son would not have to go through what I went through. And look at what I mean, you see what I've done.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, again, you know, going back to what I used as the framework for tonight's episode. And again, it's one of my, you know, favorite pictures of you guys. You know, it's the two of you on stage. Having a fucking blast. I mean, again, you know, and it's a dynamic that you made it a point, you know what I mean? That, you know, and I remember, you know, doing trips to Virginia and going here and, you know, the RAD event or autism event or any number of things and stuff like that. he was always, to the best of your ability, and granted, obviously with kids, sometimes he wanted nothing to fucking do with it, but it wasn't due to you not trying, you not setting the stage. And you legitimately, and again, for those of you at home, that are looking at this, you can see, I mean, you're animated, you got that fucking grin going, and Ray's just looking at you like, you go, old man.
He's my world.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it's also a dynamic now within the music that you're now translating over with him. You know what I mean? He's, been taking lessons, playing and stuff like that. He's, gone on stage with you. And, granted, we both know, the dynamic of age and stuff like that, but you've planted the seeds, as
Absolutely.
you were mentioning. You set the stage now for those future dynamics. Those memories are there. You know what I mean? Nobody can ever take them away.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to one more video track. This is the official Time for Change. And one of the things I love about this is more of the raw in the studio dynamic that I was talking about earlier. You know what I mean? That there are aspects, of that room that now have, it's like history. It's like the fucking pyramids now.
Yeah, time for change. Time for change was a lot of fun to do.
Ancient secrets that are hidden within those closets back there.
Ain't that the truth?
You know what I mean? Instruments and stories and, all types of, what I call and refer to as magic. But it's, it's been a process, you know what I mean, that has built and shifted over time. Minister of Metal's got a shameless plug before we cut to the video. November 12th, Viking for a Day, Toy and Food for Our Veterans. The MA-22 and Vet Work. Cavern at the Moose Lodge, Jackson, New Jersey. Brother Frank, shoot me something if you guys have a graphic or something, and I'll put it in here. I will not be doing the podcast next week as we will be prepping out to go down to New Jersey for the Arts for Autism event. And again, one more time for anybody out there who can. It's a free show. Come on out. Have a good time. Meet some people. Have a little bit of fun. September 17th, 2022. Under My Skin for Life Foundation presents Arts for Autism. That's where he learned Can't You See? Yes. A lot of songs. I think, Chris Miller was there the first time that we actually played in the garage. And I think, didn't we play, we played Barracuda and I think an AC/DC song is my memory serves me. And we were just kind of just like, and that's where it was born. You know what I mean? And it's been, shifting over the years. But I'll be honest with you, and I can say this, I think without any real, compromise in the dynamic, you have become a better musician over the years. The band is a better band now with the dynamics of having Wayne and Brian, kind of filling in that back area. You and I both know, unfortunately for us in the early years, our bigger struggle always was the drummer. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but it was all.
It was a great time. Don't get me wrong.
It was all memories. You know what I mean? Things that I'll never forget.
But having somebody like Brian behind the kit and strong as he is, rhythm as far as intuition wise, yeah. And then Wayne is just amazing. He's a fucking madman on guitar.
Oh, he is.
And Frank comes out there and he punches it out, and you are the glue, as they say, that holds it all together.
Yeah, we work pretty well together, I think.
Listen, you guys have written some really good songs. You know what I mean?
We've had fun. We've had fun doing it along the way.
So we're going to cut out and then we're going to go to the Time for Change official video, and then we'll be back to close it out with Brother Tattoo Tony Rodriguez. Okay, so we're back. That was Broken Past. Time for Change, the official video. Now that video, most of it, if not all of it, really, was shot right there in your studio, which, again, started as the garage to your shop. And the dynamics of hanging out in front there within that little parking lot, which was, again, where a lot of the stuff, originally, began, between that and, hanging out on the roof and stuff. But as you and I were talking, offline while the video was playing, a couple people came to mind I wanted to mention. Ethan Murphy, great guy,
Ethan.
what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Scars of Envy, you know what I mean? He's been a big supporter, good friend and stuff. Rob Rockefeller, who actually sung with us for a little while back in the day, and has been, an active supporter for many years at many different angles. Great guy. Always trying to go out of his way, to help other people.
Absolutely. That dude's got a heart of gold, that's for sure.
Badass was in there and stuff. Anybody else comes to mind, because we're getting ready to close out and stuff, that do you want to give a shout out to?
Honestly, we've said it all. All the people that are close to me, Badass, Frank, Ryan, you, Will, Shiya, anybody that's close, most of all my kid, my kid knows how much his dad loves him,
Oh, absolutely.
That's really it, and I miss my dad.
Yep. Well, that will never change, my friend, unfortunately. But as they say, that's how it's real, unfortunately. That
Absolutely.
is the paradox, the double-edged sword of actually giving a shit. When you actually have a real connection with somebody, it fucking hurts when,
Absolutely.
We lose them.
And again, like I mentioned earlier, keep those memories alive.
Yeah, it's really, again, it's all we can do, and keep it alive within the positive dynamics, within
That's right.
the love, the laughter, the good times,
There's bad times, there's good times, bad times, but you know what? You keep those memories alive.
Well,
You're the only one that can.
Badass passed out on the couch with swivel sticks slowly entering his nasal cavity, unaware of the horrors unfolding before him.
Oh, me and him have some stories.
Dude, I got to tell you, that trip to Virginia, I laughed so fucking hard. Badass woke up, he's like, not funny. It was absolutely fucking funny, bro. Absolutely. Oh my God.
You gotta enjoy your life, because you know what? There's only one time around. Make the most out of every day.
I mean, again, the memories, they're pages within the chapters, within, everything, but, they keep certain dynamics that remind us when we're going through the fucked up shit or, all the other, horrible things that go on around us, why we keep fighting, why we keep pushing forward, why we don't fucking give up. And, ultimately in the end, as my brother Chris Miller would say, take what you need and leave the rest behind. Shiya says, shout out to her Uncle George. Shout out, Uncle George. So, yeah.
Hello, Uncle George.
So, yes, again, coming up, September 17th, Saturday, Port Monmouth, New Jersey, at the VFW Post 2179, One Veterans Lane, the Arts for Autism event. Bike run, benders, music, raffles. Gene Snitsky, Samu Inouye, Jose Hernandez Jr., The Rat. We got wrestling. We got the Knuckleheads, Mark Meyer, Elliot Mayer, Exit Strategy, Solos Borges, Blue Red Roses. We have Spawn Ranch. We have Legion. We have myself in the Pocket Full of Wolves and my brother Tattoo Tony, Broken Past, with special guest Danny Watts, and who else? You never know who else. The Monkey's going to play some songs with us. I know Jeanette's son's going to come up with us, and he's going to do a song with us. It's one of the beautiful things, and final thing I'll say is these events are always designed for families. It isn't just rock and roll. It isn't just motorcycles. Absolutely. It's a context where everybody...
It's a day out, and just for everybody to come together and just, be, and again, like I said earlier, raise awareness about autism.
Right. And to have a good time, to really break down some of the stereotypes and the barriers that say, well, because of this, it can't be that, or you can't do this, or, again, in the dynamic, we talked about it earlier, with bikers, you know what I mean? It's not all fucking sons of anarchy, you know what I mean? It just, and
most people that ride, and I mean, especially the old school, are just down to earth, genuine people. And that's it.
And having that good time with, with food and music and laughter. And like I said, a lot of really cool shit. You'll never know what'll show up at, the auction, stuff like that. And yes, Jill Kuhn Hamilton, Tony Rodriguez, say what? I'm not sure, but you obviously said something that caught her attention.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, hey, that's how it goes. So we're going to close out this evening with a final musical cut from the broken past. And this one, why don't you just tell us real quick about it? This is Swing.
Swing Away. So the actual name of the song is Swing Away. It's the base of the song is the only way that you're going to accomplish anything in your life is to step up to the plate and take a swing at it. That's Swing Away.
Wow, that pretty much sums it all up now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Listen, my brother, my friend, thank you again for taking the time to come out with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely. So we're going to close out with Swing Away. Again, September 17th, Arts for Autism, Port Monmouth, New Jersey. Come on out for a free event. I will not be podcasting, as I said, next Tuesday, as we will be preparing to go down to Jersey for this event. We will be performing with the Pocketful of Wolves. So again, enjoy and love each other. Until next time, peace out.
Coming like a